Yeah, hi there, and welcome back. So let us continue with our lecture and let us take a look on the flat map. On the previous lecture, we saw about the map. So transform the item emitted by an observable into observables. Then flattens the emission from those into a single observable. So basically, you can take a look over. It says that transform the item emitted by the observable into another observable. So the main thing is the observable over here. So we are emitting this item from the observable, but we take a look on we apply the flat map over here, and then again we are transforming that item emitted by an observable into another observable. So just take a look over here and remember this one, the flat map is always returning the another observable. It's taking the emitted value and then again making use of the observable and sending out as the observable. Flatten, you can see it's using a flat map, taking that of emitted item and again returning as the observable down below. So I hope it's a bit confusing, but if you take a map, it says that the map transforms the items emitted by an observable by applying some sort of function into. So it's take the emitted value in the map. What is happens is take the emitted value and then apply some function over here using the map, and then it's return that particular emitted item down below. So let's take a look in a practical way. It may be a bit confusing over here. So for that, I'll create one function over here. And let us call this one as a flat map over here, and this should return the user from the user list. Then let's go back over here and I'll just copy the whole thing from here, and then let's go down and paste that one. I need to close that bracket, and let me minimize this one too, and instead of map operator I'll say a flat map operator, and now I'll remove this one. And then let us call it as a flat map because we need to apply the flat map. And when we apply the flat map, you can see we get an error because this flat map, we have to return some type of observable. If you go over here, transform the emitted item by the observable into another observable. So we need to convert that one or transform this user profile into another form of observable. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So how do we convert it? It requires the observable source. This is not the observable source. Let's create another observable source from here. Just copy this one, and I'll give a name as get user profile. Get user profile, and then we will return the user profile, and we will take some argument as the ID as the long type, and let's say it should be of a profile. And from observable, from iterable, and then we have to pass the profile list. And I have created a user profile list over here. You can just go and create this over here. So user profile list, just copy this section and paste it over here, and then I will apply the filter over here. So in the filter, what we want to do is we want to filter out the user profile based on the user ID that we have. So we need to pass user ID, and then we filter out the user profile based on that particular ID. So I'll just say it dot the ID, which is equals to the ID that we pass in as a parameter. So we'll call this get user profile from here. So let me remove this one, and I'll call get the user profile, and we have to pass the ID of the user. So it dot ID. So we get the user, and then we want to get the user profile, and then based on the user ID. So if you run this one, you should get a user profile based on that particular user ID. So if you go to the logcat, so let me clear it out, all of this. So basically what it's actually doing is that this is really helpful because now we get a list, we get a user, and for that user we want to go and fetch the particular profile. So we get the another user profile based on that particular user ID, and then we have the observable over here. So make sure that when we use a flat map operator, it should be always on an observable. So we have to make use of the observable over here. If you do not put an observable over here, it's not going to work. But if if you make use of a map, then it's going to work perfectly, because map is just applying the function to the each item that is emitted by the observable. So observable is emitting the user first, then we are converting, or we are transforming that emitted observable into another observable, and then you get it as over here. But in the map, it's just transforming the item emitted by the observable and then applying some function over here. So just don't get confused over here, right? And try to practice it more. And if you go to the logcat, you should get the user profile based on that particular ID. And another option that we can also do is let me create another function over here, and let me try to give you some more example on this particularly on the flat map. And I will have a FlatMap operator, let's say 2, and we will return a list of the user. So let us say we are getting a list of user from the API, and then I will just say just and return the list of the user. So we are returning the list of the user, maybe from the DB or from the API, and then we'll go and I'll just copy the whole thing from here and paste it down below. And I'll just say as a FlatMap operator TWO, I think it should be TW, something like, let's say I give a 2 over here, T2, right? Okay, so I will make use of a T2 over here, and then we get as a list of the user. Now what we want to do is I want to flatten this and get each user from this list. So how do I flatten it? I can just make use of obscr observable dot from iterable. So since this is a list, I need to iterate through it, and now I get each user over here. And then what we'll do is after we iterate through each of the users, then I will apply the another flat map over here, and I get a user object over here. Using this user, I can get user profile, and I can pass it dot the ID. So let us, and I get the user profile over here. So that's the multiple way of doing the same thing, right? So we are doing the same thing in a different way. So let's try to run this one, and I will go to the logcat section over here and clear it out. Okay, we get the user profile. So that's the same thing that we are doing. But let us say that if you want to make use of, let's say we make use of the map over here, what will happen? And let me comment this one, and let's say I will make use of the map operator over here, and I will call this function from here. And now you can see it is returning the observable itself. So whatever it's getting, it's returning the same object down below over here. So what it does is that when we make use of a map, it says that get user, and we are getting the profile. But you can see its returning type is of the observable itself. So it's returning the whole whatever object we are getting from here, the item, it's returning the down below. It's not flattening. So this observable should be flattened, and we should get a single observable like what we have mentioned over here. It's then flatten the emission, right, from those into a single observable. We want to get a single observable, not a whole observable. So I will go back to my project, and whereas in the map you can see we are getting the whole observable, it's not flattening. So I can remove this one, and I will make use of the flat map. So here the flat map is more suitable because we want to flatten the observable that we are getting from this particular user profile. So that's all, and I hope you enjoyed it, and try to go and practice more, and you will have a good understanding over it. So till then, have a great day.